Get close enough to this river, and your body backs away before your mind knows why. This isn't a metaphor. It isn't a hot spring. It's a real river deep in the Amazon, hot enough to kill you before you understand what's happening. And here's the question nobody could answer for 500 years. What's heating this water? Steam hangs over the jungle canopy, visible from a distance through the trees. The banks are too hot to walk barefoot. Locals call it Shanay-Timpishka, boiled with the heat of the sun. For 4 kilometers, it earns the name. Peak temperature, 210 degrees Fahrenheit, just shy of full boiling. A frog that slips into the hottest stretch never swims back out. Its eyes cloud white before it finishes sinking. No volcano feeds this. The nearest one sits 700 kilometers away, on the other side of the Andes. So, what's heating the water? The legend starts with the Spanish conquest, and it starts as revenge. Pizarro's men pushed through Inca territory demanding gold, demanding the next city to conquer. Out of vengeance, the Inca sent them somewhere on purpose, into the Amazon, promising all the gold they could carry. Most never came back. The few who did told stories that sounded insane. Shamans with real power, trees blotting out the sun, snakes that swallowed men whole, and a river that boiled. That detail outlived everyone who told it, passed down for nearly 500 years, always as folklore, never as anything a scientist bothered to check. Long before any outsider took the legend seriously, the river already had an explanation. The Asháninka trace it to a boulder shaped like a serpent's head. They call the spirit inside Yacumama, mother of the waters, said to birth both the hot springs and the cold ones from her own body. A shaman guards the site. Locals don't just believe in the river, they use it, they drink it, cook with it. Shamans still prepare medicine from its scalding water today, not folklore in the past tense. A living practice, happening right now. For centuries, the legend lived in exactly one place, word of mouth. When geologists eventually heard the story, the response was dismissal, not curiosity. Water this hot, flowing for miles, is supposed to need a volcano feeding it, and there was no volcano anywhere near where the legend placed this river. Even the oil industry, whose entire business was mapping what's underground in that region, insisted there was nothing there, not disputed, impossible, according to everyone whose job it was to know. The strangest part, the proof had been sitting in plain sight the whole time. One scientist's own family had already been there. His aunt, at a dinner table in Lima, cut off his frustration mid-sentence. "I've been there. I've swum in that river." She knew the shaman's wife. Nobody outside the region had needed an expedition. They'd needed an invitation. Getting there took a drive out of Pucallpa, a motorized canoe, then a hike on foot through the jungle. Getting permission took something else entirely. A conversation with the shaman himself, who listened, asked what the visit was actually for, and agreed on one condition. Wherever in the world the water traveled for testing, it had to be poured back into the ground so it could find its way home. What that permission revealed wasn't gentle. Frogs, lizards, small rodents. Anything that ends up in the hottest stretch dies almost immediately. Water floods the mouth and lungs. The animal cooks alive from the inside while it's still trying to breathe. Get too close to the hottest pools, and the ground itself turns hostile, mud hot enough to blister skin through a boot sole. No malice required, no mistake required. Proximity is enough. So, what's heating the water? the leading answer. Rainwater sinks deep through cracks in old fault lines, gets heated by the planet's own internal warmth, and rushes back to the surface under pressure, still carrying that heat. No magma required, no fire, just the ground, doing what it always does, turned up to a scale nobody expected this far from a volcano. That answers how. It doesn't answer why here. The same basic setup, rainwater sneaking underground and coming back hot, no volcano involved, has been found in other places too, from the Andes to the mountains of Switzerland. But none of those come close to this. Somewhere in the mix of depth, pressure, and rock, this one stretch of jungle river ended up hot enough to kill in seconds. And nobody has fully explained why it's this one, and not any of the other places with the same basic setup. The river survived the Spanish conquest, 500 years of continuous use, a decade of scientific denial. What it might not survive, the next 20 years. Land around Shanay-Timpishka sits inside one of Peru's most severe deforestation zones, losing more jungle every year to logging and clearing. The river itself may be nearly indestructible. The ecosystem around it, and the culture that's protected it for generations, is not. That frog from the opening never understood what it fell into. No warning, no explanation, just heat where there shouldn't have been any. For 500 years, the outside world treated this river exactly the same way, impossible to take seriously until contact proved otherwise. Science finally answered how. Nobody's fully answered why here, of all places. The river needed centuries just to be believed. It may only have a few more to be understood.